The 2018 season for Grizzly basketball was a special one and will be remembered for numerous reasons. The team won 26 games, won the regular season and Big Sky tournament title, making their 11th NCAA tournament appearance. Catching up now with head coach Travis DeCuire. And Coach, what a whirlwind the season was. It was a blur the last couple of weeks. When were you able to finally sit back, relax, and take in the special memories this team put together?
That hasn't really happened yet. A little bit, bits and pieces. When we got home, we took a week off from as much as we could. And, I just kind of sat back and admired the NCAA tournament in general and watched Michigan's run. And I think as I watched them perform to the championship game, I had a chance to reflect a little bit on my basketball team and what we were capable of. But I still haven't had that moment where I can let my hair down a little bit and relax and think back.
The journey of this season was great, all the way back in November, even the work you guys put in before you took the floor for games. But the non-conference, it started off alternating wins and losses. Team was finding its way a bit, and then something clicked in December. We saw a different team from there on. Where was that turning point? Were there any special moments or something during the game where it occurred, or where was the turning point of the season for you?
We were teasing ourselves a little bit. We start off with the Pitt win, and so we think maybe we're a little better than we are. No one really played great with the exception of Michael. But our defense was working and it kept us in the game and it gave us some leads from time to time. I thought we defended well enough at Penn State to win. So our defense was ahead of our offense at one point. And so we were seeing signs. But we lacked consistency. We lacked the depth. I think that the tough comebacks, the Santa Barbara game down double figures at halftime, the Georgia State game down double figures at halftime, I think that's when we saw signs of what we were capable of in the second half, that if you can be down 18, if you can be down 20, and you can get back into the game and take leads or tie, that you are, for stretches, 18, 20 points better than your opponent. Why not play like that for two halves? And we just need to find a way to do that.
Compete with desperation. That was the theme that we heard as this team and this season kept going, and it was a huge factor in winning 26 games. Can you go back and tell us where that originated and how big of a factor it was to the success you had?
It was when we got back from Georgia State. We started, when we were watching film, we were reflecting on the Santa Barbara game, we were reflecting on that game, and even the Stanford game for that matter, because we were down, we had leads, we were down, we had leads. We got to the 8-minute mark of a couple of those games. I thought maybe we ran out of gas. I thought maybe a timeout before the media timeout became important. Mm-hmm. And that was when I began to accept responsibility for our lack of making a move at that point in time. And I think I took the pressure off the team a little bit in that regard. And so the next few games, we talked about two things. One, I'm going to burn that timeout before the media, give us a chance to catch our breath. Maybe try to make a run before the media and then have a long break and then try to see what we had for the stretch. So I think that took the pressure off the guys a little bit. And then the second thing was, what if we played for 40 minutes the way we played our second halves? And we went into the Riverside game with that motto, and I thought we gave 30 minutes of that. And so then it was, what if we could do 10 more minutes? We played well, we won by double figures, but there were stretches where we weren't very good. And then the Irvine game was the game where we put 40 minutes together for the first time. And when you look back at the stats, we out-rebounded the number 2 rebounding team in the country. We were more physical than probably the biggest team we had played at that point. I think that's when we began to believe that we were capable of having a special season. And so from that point forward, compete with desperation became the motto.
It was easy to see that this team enjoyed being around each other, both on and off the court throughout the course of the year, traveling around. How important, Coach, do you feel that was the family feel and how the chemistry from this squad really reflected? How important was that to success?
It's huge. When you look at teams that lack success, it's usually the missing piece is chemistry. Mm-hmm. Faith, confidence, trust within each other. And trust is big for us. In terms of, we talk about trusting each other on both sides of the ball. Sometimes you make the extra pass, someone else might need to make that play, someone else might need to make that shot. And the same thing defensively is you have to be willing to rotate and have the confidence and the faith that someone's going to rotate to your man. And that's difficult to teach and have. So for us, it came from off the court. We just spent a lot of time together when traveling. The way we traveled this year, sometimes we took an extra day on the road. And had a chance to interact with each other outside the lines. And I thought that grew as the year progressed, and it was the first time in my college basketball career as a player, as a coach, where captains weren't voted for, and we didn't set team goals at the beginning. We just played the game and had game-by-game discussions.
Coach, this will be tough because there were so many great moments, and I'll put you on the spot here. But for you, was there a favorite point in the season or a favorite moment, favorite instance from a game this year that you're always going to remember?
The Irvine game. I think we had a lot to play for. Former teammate Delvon Anderson, we were honoring him that evening. His kids were there to witness the performance. And nothing worse than having a special night and not go out and play your best basketball. It's one thing to win or lose. That's not as important, but go out and play the best you can play. That was the best performance that we had all year, top to bottom. And I thought that it began a run, but it was eye-opening to our team when we went back and watched that game start to finish and figure out what we were capable of. And I think that's why we won the championship.
Amazing. From mid-December to the end of the year, this team only lost 3 games. Impressive stuff. This team also made history inside Dahlberg Arena, becoming just the 5th team in school history to go undefeated. First time in 26 years it happened. Only 2 games were decided by single digits. How important, how impressive was it to be part of history in that right and being able to build it here at home?
It's huge. You know, we talked about style of play when I was hired, that we wanted to put a product on the floor that was going to be entertaining. We hope that when, as new fans started to see what it was that we were doing out there in our style of play, that they would want to return. And for us to have the highest attendance in I think 7 years is huge. And it's a sign of growth and where we're headed. And I think that played a role in us going undefeated. Was our crowds continued to grow. It became more emotional. And we started to feel more support as the season grew, and I thought that we started to play better ball at home as the season grew.
Coach, what will it take to maybe take that next step even more for that home environment, number 1, and also number 2, just to be able to have that excitement around the program? How much are you feeling it now that even 2 months after the NCAA tournament run, that there's excitement around this basketball program?
We feel it. You know, I think we've changed expectations, which is a positive and a negative. I don't know that we can be expected to go undefeated at home every year. But I do think that there's an opportunity for growth. But what can't happen is we can't be complacent. Our program can't be complacent as coaches, as players, or as administrators. We need to piggyback on what happened this year and invest more each year to one, replicate the performance, but also grow.
Coach, let's talk about that wild run in Reno. You got everybody's best shot. The target was on your back. I think those 3 games lost a lot of everyone's life for how much stress there was in between it. But have you ever been a part of anything like that game against Northern Colorado, considering what was on the line and how you were able to pull it out?
92. We came from behind in the championship game. I want to say we were down 15 in the second half to come back and win that championship. And our 2 best players, Delvon Anderson and Roger Fastings, led us to an incredible comeback. And I think the difference for us this year was there were multiple guys that made plays during those stretch of wins. And for Saeed Bridges to take charges in 2 of the 3 games, and Bobby Moorhead to dribble the ball to the 3-point line and bang a 3, and Timmy Falls to draw fouls, and it just everyone had their role of making an impact for that run, and I think that's what made it so special.
And then the championship game against Eastern, you go into the locker room, you worked the magic all year long. At halftime, whenever you came out in the second half, it was pretty good news for the Grizzlies. But what will you remember most, or maybe some of those key moments in the championship game against Eastern, if you could take us maybe inside the locker room for those tense moments at halftime that turned into success?
Well, you know, this was one of the times I probably had my tantrum in the coach's locker room instead of with the players, and we talked more X's and O's in terms of a couple adjustments here and there to make, but it was emotional. And I think guys, you know, Jamar Coe and Michael Gainey, who probably made the biggest impact offensively in that run, knew that they were the 2 that were going to get the bulk of the challenge. And Ahmad, you could see he was focused, and what he brought defensively in the second half was huge. And so I think those 3 guys, they were ready, you know, at halftime. They knew what it was going to take to make that run. And so it didn't take much for me to get them going. They wanted that championship more than I did. and they went out and performed that way.
It was a whirlwind from 6 days in Reno to 36 hours in Missoula and then catching a flight to Wichita. When you can look back on it, and maybe when you're on the plane or just in the last couple of months, how would you sum up the entire NCAA tournament experience for you and the team?
I thought it was an opportunity of growth for our program. And the thing I had talked about leading up to going to the tournament with the guys is there's some things you're going to experience you've never experienced before. We've all played in big games. We've played in front of big crowds. We've been to Kansas. We've been all these places where, you know, we've had an opportunity to play in front of large crowds. But what we didn't have was the lead up, the build up to the game. And to me, that's what makes the NCAA tournament special. But it's also what makes it difficult. And I thought it led to our fatigue in the tournament. And that's why the teams that continue to go were the ones that grow. We've got to get back. We've got to get back. We've got to experience it again. And then we've got to keep building on it. And so it's important for us to do the things from April to September that allows us to continue to grow and get to that point.
I know that you watch more film than pretty much anyone, Coach, so have you went back through that Michigan tape yet? Or I know you referenced it earlier, watching them through their run, but what was it like from your perspective watching a team that you went up against and held a 10-0 lead, were within 3 points at halftime, go to the national championship game?
It was a challenging game, and you know, they were as good out of timeouts as anyone we played, and I thought we made big adjustments out of timeouts as well. I think the physicality was the biggest point, though. You know, I think we were burnt out a little bit on Monday in practice coming out of the Big Sky tournament. So we had one good practice leading up to the travel on Tuesday. We never really recovered physically. And you're playing a team that, one, had been there before, two, that had 2 weeks off. And so they were a lot fresher than we were. But that's for us to build on. I just think that we ran out of gas. We got the second half, and we came out with some adjustments that we knew would work, and ball didn't go in the basket. We got the shots we wanted. Shots just didn't go in, and I thought there was fatigue. I thought they physically beat us up legally within the rules of the game. They were just more physical than we were able to play through, and we ran out of gas, and so now we got to build on that.
You showed your commitment to Montana, want to be here long term, of course. What factors, Coach, lead it to you? You're thinking at least that this is a special place and you want to be here?
Family. My family has enjoyed the experience. We're in a pretty good situation right now. I think family happiness is important as you make decisions for your future. And then my basketball family. I've got a great group to come back to. We have an opportunity to continue to grow. Our community has showed investment in our program, and I think there's an opportunity for us to build on that and continue to grow. And men's basketball has made an incredible move, and we've got a large group of supporters that want to help us grow. And if we can continue to do that and build on our tradition, I think there's a lot of special things ahead of us, and I want to be a part of that.
Let's start taking a look at next year, maybe the different roster that's going to shape into place a bit. Kelby Kramer, his development, maybe an update on that. The two new guys, at least for now, that you're going to bring into this program. What's going to be important as you guys maneuver towards the offseason now with some new pieces in place?
30 pounds have been put on Kelby Kramer. I think we've got room for another 10 to 15. Probably our most improved player behind the scenes. Which is what you want to do with the redshirt year. So I think with him, we'll be better at shot blocking, protecting the rim as we continue to pressure the ball the way we have. I also think he'll increase our offensive and defensive rebounding for us. So he'll be a presence, but he'll still be a freshman. So it'll be a roller coaster ride. How many minutes he's able to earn, how impactful he'll be in the long run of his first season is to be determined, but I know he'll help us. And then incoming freshmen, Eddie Egan, Mac Anderson are also guys that will be impact players for us. The question is it now or is it later? We'd like to be able to redshirt those two guys, but the plan was to redshirt Bobby Moorhead a few years back, and you saw how that worked out. So we'll see how much those guys improve over the summer, but we're looking forward to having them this summer and working with them, but we have big expectations for both of them. Final question for you, Coach. Give us kind of the general layout for how Grizzly basketball is going to work here through the offseason and main points before you get going again in the fall. Right now in the spring, we're just trying to get stronger, and we're shooting the ball a lot. We're probably getting up more shots than we've ever have in our off time here, and A lot of guys are getting stronger. Cy Bridges already gained 6 pounds. So we're looking to be a more physical basketball team and looking to increase our ability to shoot the ball away from the basket. And then there's some individual development here and there. There's a couple of things that guys could tweak in their game. So a lot of it is individualized from now till September, and then we'll get back to our group stuff. But we plan to be a better basketball team next year, and hopefully we can put more than 85 points a game on the board as we continue to defend the way we have.
Coach, I think I speak for a lot of Grizz Nation saying we can't wait for next year. Congrats on a great season. Enjoy the summer.
I can't wait either. Go Grizz.
Make sure you're staying up to date with all the Grizzly social media and the Grizzly basketball team, especially here on GoGrizz.com.